Welcome back to the final segment of today's Price of Business. Glad to be with you. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. My good friend, Charles Alvarez, he's with Cornerstone Business Academy. Always delighted to have him on the program. And Charles' organization, fantastic. It is changing the way businesses conduct themselves, putting companies that were often stagnant in growth mode with systems that really do make a difference. And this is not an advertisement, but a testimony of someone who's really benefited from CornerstoneBusinessAcademy.com and the work of Charles Alvarez. Charles, good to have you on, sir.
Always good to be on.
Thank you very much,
Kevin. How are you?
Good. Introduce your guest today, Charles.
I'm extraordinarily pleased to have on our show really a insurance agency legend. Scott Addis is one of the best when it comes to commercial insurance, and he really takes a revolutionary approach that is really changing the lives of his customers for the better. Scott, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much, Charles.
Scott, can you give us your elevator speech, the background of your company, and some of the services your company provides?
Well, I'm involved in two areas. One is the Addis Group, which is a insurance brokerage firm based out of the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area. We have approximately 67 members of staff, but we have gotten significant recognition: Insurance Broker of the Year in the United States, Inc. Magazine Entrepreneur of the Year, Greater Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce Business of the Year. That having happened, I have been pushed where I am doing coaching and training throughout the United States and have put together a network of very high-profile best practice insurance agencies throughout the country. And with that, I've also been pushed outside the insurance space, so I am doing a handful of work in transforming organizations to get to new levels of success.
Very good. Charles?
So, Scott, tell us about what is it about your business practices? What is it about your company that makes you all so good? And how come you're getting national recognition on helping other insurance companies just like you get to the next level?
Charles, the biggest issue and the focus for my entire career has been in this middle market business segment, and I define middle market as organizations without a risk manager. Think of large corporations today, multinationals. They would have a full-time person on staff called a chief risk officer or a risk manager. But 99.9% of businesses in America don't have the luxury of a risk manager. Therefore, you have an overburdened and extremely busy CEO, CFO, HR manager who are juggling many responsibilities, assuming the responsibility of insurance and risk management. And as you can imagine, that doesn't cut it. So what I'm trying to do is to have the typical agent or broker step up and say, rather than trying to sell products, their primary fundamental job is to help their clients identify, prioritize, measure, and mitigate risk. In many ways, a new breed in the industry, which I use the term outsourced risk manager, risk strategist, or risk architect.
Interesting. By the way, what is the best website for people to learn more about you?
Well, there's a number. I would say if someone wants to hear more about the book, which is getting very nice
why don't
reviews,
we just give the one that you really want to give, because the more you give, the less likely they'll go to any. That's my experience. So give them one.
I would go beyondinsurance.com.
Beyondinsurance.com. Go ahead there, Charles.
So, Scott, I'd like to talk more about that. Based upon the fact that you really see yourself not as an insurance agent, quote unquote, but more as a risk manager, what is the tangible value that you've been able to bring to organization? Like, maybe give us an example of where you really acted on behalf of your clients as their outsourced risk manager, and what are the results that they can expect from what you do for them?
Very good question. I mean, you think of it, businesses today, they have many challenges facing them, and any astute leader has to recognize one of their primary fundamental jobs is to recognize what are the impediments for future success, what are issues that could impact their bottom line. So for the Addis Group as well as these enlightened agents and brokers, our primary thrust is going ahead and to identify, prioritize, and, of course, mitigate risk. I'll give an example of a wonderful organization in Houston called Cravens Warren. This is an organization today is going through the Beyond Insurance process and is being very successful. And the biggest ingredient is now their ability, or enhanced ability, I should say, to truly assess and mitigate risk.
Interesting. What is the size range of your clientele? I'm assuming mid-market, but what is about as small as you go?
At the Addis Group, we would certainly get involved with smallest businesses, 10, 15, 20 people, but the leadership must have a desire and an understanding of the importance of trying to assess the risks that face their business. But for the most part, we're going to be dealing with accounts that are going to be in the, say, 50 to 500 employee segment.
Yeah, interesting. Go ahead there, Charles.
Scott, so one of the things that we constantly talk to our clients about is, we don't know what we don't know. So we're hiring, other people that understand our business and, kind of like how the best of the best and surrounding themselves with great people. What are some of the things for somebody who might say, you know what, Scott, that sounds great. I really don't need a risk manager. I know my business. I know the risk associated with it, and I really don't need a risk manager. What would you tell somebody who kind of thought that way?
Charles, I'm sorry. I did not get a clear connection on that question.
I'm sorry. One of the things we see in our clients is that they say that, well, Charles, I know my business. I don't need a risk manager. I really don't have to have somebody assess my issues. And what I tell my clients is, well, look, you don't know what you don't know. What are some of the things that your clients don't know or don't realize that they might be allowing as a risk in their business that if it happened to them, it would create an enormous issue for them?
If I heard that correctly, that is one of the ability to go ahead into an organization and to assess risk. If you think about wonderful organizations like Booz Allen, McKinsey, Accenture, and many others, one of the key ingredients they use are employee interviews. I teach people how to go into organizations and conduct employee interviews, and in each interview, challenge the employee to understand what do they see as the strengths of the business, what do they see as opportunities in the next 3 to 5 years, and lastly, what keeps them awake at night. Under the keep awake at night, people will give you real-life issues that face out organizations that are impairing the profitability of the business. Once you get an issue, and it could be substance abuse in the workplace, it could be a dysfunctional safety committee, it might be the fact that there's a need for a wellness program in the workplace. You have no idea when you go into a business what are the issues you might uncover in an interview. I then challenge the employee to come up with a solution, and it's been amazing to me how often employees not only have the issue, they also have a solution.
Gentlemen, I'm going to have to wrap it up. Very interesting conversation. Final thoughts. First of all, for our guests, give that website one more time. BeyondInsurance.com. Charles Alvarez, phenomenal as always. He is with CornerstoneBusinessAcademy.com. With about 30 seconds left, your final thoughts.
If you want somebody to really be a risk manager and to really assess the risk guards of the business, I highly, 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 highly recommend that you give Scott Addis a call at BeyondInsurance.com.
Thanks to both of you gentlemen. Great show, great segment. And when we come back tomorrow, we're going to have much, much more for you. Do want to remind you, though, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com, including this great interview. And you can always check the Price of Business 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com. I hope you have a great day. I hope you spend it right here